some research about being an astronaut, because at that point, it was only something that was on television that looked like fun. So I had to go to the library. You guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Well, I went to the library. We didn't have the internet back in that day. Well, how I learned about the space program, since it was so early, was in the newspapers and the magazines that were talking about it. And then when I was in high school, I wrote to NASA and got the requirements for NASA, and it said you have to have at least a master's degree in some type of science field, and I chose medicine, in part because I like taking care of people. I had found out very early on that there were certain things that I like to do, and one of those things is that I like helping people. I said, what better way to help people than become a medical doctor? But at the same time, I saw that there were medical doctors that worked in the space program, and so I put the two together. It really was a nice fit. So I went to the University of Houston as a pre-med student, then Texas Tech Medical School, then the Mayo Clinic to do my residency. A residency is what a doctor does after he goes to medical school. He or she goes to medical school. And my residency was in internal medicine. What do you call the doctor that takes care of you at your age? Anybody know? Pediatrician? Okay, pediatrician. So I'm an internist in internal medicine. So I take care of mostly adults, and occasionally I will see kids if I'm forced to. But I take care of adults. Things like high blood pressure, diabetes, osteoporosis, those are type things that people would come to me for. And then I did some additional training. I went to the Air Force and trained as an aerospace medicine doc, and we call it a flight surgeon. And then I did research at NASA for a few years, and then I applied to the astronaut corps, became an astronaut. When you apply to the astronaut corps, you go through 2 years of basic training. That basic training is kind of cool. First of all, most of your time is sitting in a classroom just like you've been doing, back in school and now, and listening to professors from all over the world talking about different things like geology and oceanography and you name it, we got it. Engineering for those of us who are not engineers, and medicine for those of us who are not medical doctors. Then we did the fun stuff. We went and did survival training. So we went to Siberia and we learned how to survive in the winter, dead of winter, for a week. You think that was fun? It's a little cold. You think it gets cold in Wyoming? Go there. We did desert survival training out in Arizona. We went to the Air Force up in Enid, Oklahoma, and did parachute training. So we actually parachuted out of course, we did aircraft, which I don't highly recommend. Nothing fun for me at all. But we parachuted on the ground, and also we went to down to Florida and trained with the Navy SEALs to learn how to survive in the ocean. And so I actually parachuted into the ocean too. That was all kind of fun. Then I learned how to fly jets. Then I learned how to fly the space shuttle, and then I was ready to go. So after 2 years, I got selected for my first mission, and it was a great mission. We spent about 2 weeks up in space, and it was kind of cool. And my second flight was the first mission to go to the Russian space station. And so I actually got a chance to do a spacewalk, which I'll come back to in just a second, because that's going to get us set up for what we have to do, our challenge today. But let me go back and answer a question that I always get asked by no matter what audience I get to. In fact, there are 3 questions. You want to know what the 3 questions I always get asked are? Number 1, Dr. Harris, you've been in space. What was it like to travel in space? I'll talk a little bit about that. The second one is, Dr. Harris, you have been in space. Did you see any aliens? Everybody wants to know that, right? I didn't see any aliens. I will tell you that some of the guys that I flew with are pretty strange. Some of the astronauts. You have to be a little crazy, right, to get on a ship, a spaceship, and be blasted off in space. And then the third one, which I know you're going to ask, and I will answer it, but at the very end of the day here, and that is how to go to the bathroom in space. Everybody wants to know that, don't you? Yeah.